I'm going to show you how to take the columns from this to this in this video. I'm wrapping my columns for my front patio here. And as always, I forget to do the videos in the beginning and then realize afterwards that, well, maybe I should have recorded that. But I built a wooden box underneath here. Just 2x4s and 2x6s. I did 2x6s at the top so the handrail can run into it. Have a little bit more nailing surface for the whole way around the top, and 2x4s at the bottom. And then just put 1/2 inch regular plywood. None of the OSB stuff. I used actual plywood on it because I'm going to wrap these in concrete. But the stones for the top are Pennsylvania bluestone, and we actually cut those and slid them down while I was building the porch. So we didn't have any kind of cuts or anything in them, and I just have a board screwed in there to hold them up. I'm going to put some glue around here, some adhesive to seal this up. I've already Tyvek taped everything so water doesn't get in. These will slide down, and then a tapered PVC column will cover up that part. But I'll show you more of the video here then, more of the process. I put a couple beads of construction adhesive around the top of this, basically just to hold the stone so it doesn't flap around or anything. The stone, gravity is going to hold it, but I want to make sure it doesn't move. But this one here, I had to put some shims underneath it to make it set level. I have it pitched this way just a hair, just a little bit. I'm going to put the column around here, so I'll seal that all up too, so water really isn't going to be able to run in there or down the post or anything. So I'm going to take this board out and set it down. And that's it for tonight. This bluestone is really good looking. We take an acetylene torch and spray it with water, and when the water expands, it pops and gives it a nice little texture. And you end up with some discoloration like this, but I like how that looks. But the last thing I did was measure to make sure all the sides are the same. And we're good. So I built the columns, the tapered columns that go on top of the what'll be stack stone down here at the bottom. I'll show you a little closer look. I gotta put a decorative trim around here, fix all the nail holes and stuff. Put a little decorative trim up the top, and then that little overhang, I'm gonna put a piece up there just to give it a decoration. But here's how I did them. So I ordered these pieces from Home Depot, I think. They have a little tongue and groove set up so the board comes in this way, and then on this side just pushes straight in. I'll just smear some PVC glue on there. I gotta put some shims and stuff in the top. I just got some temporary screws up there to hold it in place. I put some blocking down here at the bottom, screw everything tight. These are glued to this, so that's not gonna move any. And then after that, like I said, decorative trim up there, down here. So I just finished installing the wire mesh and prep for the concrete that goes on top to do the stone wrap like this here on it. So both columns are done. Now I put the white PVC column pieces on the other day. I didn't showcase that in the video because literally it comes in a kit, and like they're all 4 pieces, they're all separate, but one kind of tucks in this way and then slaps over this way, and then you nail it and you know, so on. So it literally just comes in a kit and you just put it together. So there's nothing really major with it, so I didn't show. The only thing I did do different is this piece up here, the little ledge there. I was afraid birds were going to set on it and just, you know, crap all over the porch, so I put that little filler piece on. I'll probably end up painting these when they're done, when I'm done with everything, but they're PVC, so they really don't need painted. But onto the mesh. You'll see some contractors talk about putting this, there's kind of a cup to it. If you look at it, you can kind of see where it goes up at an angle. Some contractors will tell you to put that cup down, so when you rub your hand up it this way, it's smooth, and when you drag it down this way, it's rough. It really doesn't matter which way it goes up. It can go up this way, so the cup goes up this way, or the cup goes down this way. It doesn't matter. Whenever you're putting your concrete on, that's where it matters. So if your cup is facing down like this, when you put your concrete on, you kind of purge it from here up, and that forces it up into these. If you put it so the cup's facing down, you just have to put your mud on and push it down this way. So it's really a matter of preference of opinion, you know, how you want to do it. But I usually do mine down like this because I start at the bottom and then I just drag the concrete up on the trowel. So the only thing I will say is make sure you wear gloves when you put this on, because these little pieces here are sharp. And as you're cutting them and dragging them around, they tear you up pretty good. You want the consistency a little bit drier than what I got it here, but it's okay if it's a little wet. You just end up with more of a mess. There's other people out there a lot neater than I am, but you get the idea. Last thing you want to do, put some scratches in it. And there you have it. Now it's ready for stone. I'm gonna get the garden hose all this off, clean up my mess, so now that stains the concrete that's here. Getting ready to install the corners and some spare pieces I have from remodel we did. We ripped a bunch of the old stone off the house. I've mixed up my concrete to my mortar to a peanut butter like consistency, so it'll stick to the back of the corner pieces. I'll smear a little bit on the back of the corners and then just set it in place. So here's the first column done. You can see you stagger the stones. She got short on long side, so you can see each one of them. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. So you do that so whenever you have the mortar in there, it actually looks like a full stone, not like it's just capped around the corner. But I'm getting ready to do this one here now. Here you can see better what I was talking about now. When you stack them on the corners, you alternate both directions. I start at the top and work my way down too, and then I'll try to kind of size these in to make sure they're going to fit. You don't want them bumping into the other rocks too much. You can see I laid out a lot of my corners, so I have, you know, a bunch to choose from. And you can't really see it in the picture here, but there's a brownstone here, a brownstone here. You don't really want them beside each other, so I'll choose a different one. The grays there's a lot more gray, so it's okay to have them closer together. I just don't like having the browns or the darker ones staggered up. I'm not sure how well you can see it in the lighting, but healthy amount of mortar on the back. You want to stick it on there. wiggle it around to get all the air bubbles out. Give it a couple slaps. There you go. Colin's in place. And don't worry about everything you're dropping down here. Before it's all said and done, a little bristle brush and some water. Wipe that off before it dries. You're going to do the same thing to these stones. Once the mortar dries a little bit, take this here and knock off all the burrs and all the edges that are left. And then I'll get a grout bag and I'll fill all these joints with grout. On the back of each one of these stones, I have about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8 inch mud, a little extra, just to make sure it makes good contact. And again, I wet this here so that it doesn't suck all the moisture out of the mortar as I put it on. The last thing you want to do after all the columns are done is get yourself one of these. To get in here, I've let this set up a while, so you can see it's just kind of dry and crumbly. You want to clean that out so that when you put your grout in there, none of this is in the way. As always, that column over there is already done. Just go in here and be careful we don't, these small stones, be careful we don't knock them off. So I'm getting ready to fill the gaps in here in the stone. I got the concrete mixed up over there, and I got my mixing, or grout bag, I guess you want to call it. Giant cake decorating bag for those of you that know cake decorating. You cut the tip off of it to the size you want. It's reusable. I'm going to wet it down first because it seems like it works better if it's wet. And then I'm going to fill it with concrete. I'm going to twist the end off about right here. And then I'll show you how I fill the gaps. When mixing up the mud for your bag, I go with a fairly soupy mix. It has to flow through the nozzle. I don't want to have to apply a massive amount of pressure of squeezing, pushing, and everything. So when I mix it up fairly runny. Now if this is a little too runny, I can add just a little bit more mortar to it or let it set here a little bit to, you know, harden up some, but this should be just a perfect mix. When I fill my mortar bag, I go about halfways, so that gives me a good grip here at the end. You just want to, I start at the top. But you can also start at the bottom too. You want to twist to keep pushing the mud down to the end. Squeeze with this hand, push with this hand. You see, you just want to fill the cracks. I'll go back and clean it up here after it sets a wee little bit. I'll come by with a striker knife and I'll smooth that all out, and then I'll go by at the end with a brush and clean it up, make it nice and smooth. There you go. So I have my striking tool here. The mud's set up, it's pretty stiff. So I'm going to go by, just kind of work this into the edges and smooth out any big bumps. cut down along the side of that so the stone sticks out. You also have to keep checking your mud to see when it's ready to do this. You can see it's stiff. It's not going anywhere. Obviously temperature and stuff varies, but it's really windy here today. Temperatures are around 75, 80. So it's setting up a little fast. It's been about 45 minutes actually since I grouted it. Just want to push that back in, make sure it gets deep in there. Seal up any cracks to keep water from getting in. If you live in a freezing climate like we do, if water gets inside, it could freeze in there, pop, break your stone off. Just want to make sure the edges are sealed up nice. You can go deeper with this and really make the rock stand out, or you can bring it almost to the surface. That's really up to you and your design. I'm trying to mimic what's on the house already, so I'm not going super deep with it. Kind of looks like a house was done a long time ago when they actually used real stone and mortar. Okay, that's pretty good. Take the brush here, get rid of all them little burrs. And there you have it. I'm gonna let this set up a little while yet, maybe another hour or so, and I'm gonna wet my brush and hit it again to really make this nice and smooth. And then hopefully, that's all said and done, this will match all that. I'm in the middle doing a bunch of flower beds too. There you have it.